Hi, my name's Shawn Shaler. That's my friend Chris Ford, aka The Objective Geek, YouTube and Twitter. Welcome to Avatar The Last Podcasters. Thank you for joining us. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving, unless you don't like Thanksgiving, in which case I hope you had a nice Thursday. And Chris, how you been, buddy? What you been up to?
Black Friday is dead.
Black Friday is not really Black Friday anymore. It's just a week
It's not.
long of mediocre average sales, right?
I went to Walmart Friday at some point, and I was like, "What is this? Like, have you all your lost your pride?" Um,
Yeah,
but
they
also,
have.
it's like, okay,
Yeah,
I don't care.
but it's okay. Yeah,
Much
that's fine.
better. It's like it was only 4 years, 3 years ago that they were crazy and opening on Thursdays. It's like now it's just like Black Friday is it's nothing. There's no real deals. I mean, I find stuff, somewhat
I mean,
on Amazon, but
yeah, it's like they are regular sales, but just I don't know, and people still kind of go nuts for them. But I'm like, why?
yeah.
It's not that good. And Amazon is. I feel like Amazon still has good stuff, but they push their own stuff so hard, like that it's front and center. All of the like the Amazon branded, the Amazon Basics stuff, the insignia
You know
Amazon
what I
stuff.
hate?
So that's
You know
always
what I
front and
hate
center.
that's so as a I don't know why I opened up with this can of worms. This is the you guys are not mistaken. This is the Avatar podcast, but we like to anyway. As
We
a
have
as a former
opinions.
businessman, I guess I'm still a businessman. Um, I hate. Sometimes I feel like I can just see, like I can see the matrix. Like I can see what business person was thinking when they did this thing. So like on Amazon, right? I would search McFarlane Batman action figure.
As one does.
It's not, yeah, it's not listed. It's not sorting them by, oh, these are things that are gonna match it. Like it will put like, all right, the first one will match it. Then the second one, no. But I gotta keep scrolling. It's like it gets to the point where I'm like, you could have just showed me. There's only you could have shown me the 5 items that are the closely matched to that, but they purposely don't do that. So I would keep scrolling and look at other things while I'm looking for what I'm looking for, and I might find something else that I might want.
They intermingle their sponsored stuff so frequently that if you sort by
Yeah,
anything, like if you use the sort feature, it feels like it's not sorted because the sponsored stuff isn't sorted,
yeah.
right? So it's like $10, $12, $80, $13, $14, $90. Like Amazon, good lord, you Amazon has a drinking problem, but that's okay. Yeah, it's very muted shopping holiday Black Friday for me,
I
but
know
that's fine.
this is an Avatar segue, sorta. I've
There you
been
go. Way to
spending
way to bring it back
probably
home.
too much, probably spending too much money on random things,
I've been
especially on
there.
eBay. I got a new Static Shock 3D printed statue that someone did. Looks great. I just gotta prime it and paint it, and I'm really good at painting figures, so it's no big deal. Um, but so I've been buying a bunch of stuff on eBay, and I found this as it relates to Avatar, Roku's dragon
That's
Fang.
sick.
It's a pretty big one too. Like I thought,
Yeah.
like good size. Yeah, back when we did like commercials and stuff or
Yeah, I
covered,
kind of miss doing
but
some of those, like or like when we had the big oppa that made the noise. Like
yeah.
I don't know, it's very nostalgic for me. Uh,
But this is a really cool dragon. I need to clean it up a little bit. Maybe paint it some. Ooh, I could actually try to paint it to look more realistic, but I don't know if I'm that good.
and do you ever have trouble with certain types of plastic maybe working better with paint than other types of plastic in terms of like the paint sticking to it or adhering properly?
Oh yeah, well you gotta use. To me, yeah, that can be an issue. Some plastics are soft plastics, and those don't adhere as well as hard plastics. The paint doesn't adhere as well. I also recommend washing it, like with even like just soap and water and a little scrubby scrub. That helps it out. But for the most part, but use acrylics. Don't use enamel. Enamel is not the greatest on plastic, especially so. It has to be like a really hard plastic for enamel to stick to it.
I just was thinking, like, surely by the sound that toy made, it just sounded like that kind of like kids' toy plastic, and it feels like your average paint wouldn't stick to that very well. But
Uh,
you know what I mean? It has like that super slick plastic sound to it.
oh yeah, that's why you gotta. You're right. All toys come with almost like a little thin layer of it. That's why you gotta scrub it and stuff. And then once you do that, that makes it a lot easier for the paint to adhere to.
And this has been toy painting with Avatar: The Last Podcasters. A happy little
I am.
accident.
I'm not considering doing YouTube videos on like toy customizations. But I was saying like, man, I'm like getting better at this. But also, I know I'm not like so great at it to where it wouldn't be things I do are would be undoable for viewers and stuff. Because I'm a decent painter. I can hold something still, and then I can do it. But a lot of it just comes down to just looking at an object or a toy and thinking, how can I form this into this other thing? And a lot of times it's pretty simple stuff.
They
I say simple. I have a rotary tool that I use all the time to like drill and cut stuff.
you got your little craft Dremel.
Yeah.
I think you forget the instructional videos, Chris. Just go ASMR, right? Just relaxing, soothing painting noises and sounds, and then every once in a while, just like a, that's nice.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Nice little
yes.
stroke right there.
You just got to put on like your soft sleepy time voice, and
When I first started doing videos, like the one about Iroh, I talk in and this is my first kind of video, and so I talk kind of in my just normal voice almost. And I'm not trying to be like high, say higher energy than usual. And people are like, "Man, you should do ASMR." I'm
you
like,
got a soothing voice,
no,
man. I don't know if it's okay for one person to tell another person this on a podcast, but you have a soothing voice.
well, that's interesting. I've never thought about that until I did videos on YouTube, and then people mention like, you just have a calm, like delivery and stuff. I'm
Well,
like, cool.
in painting itself is so like inoffensive. Like you could just describe what you're painting as you're doing it, and like it's gonna be mostly sort of pleasant sounding words. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's gonna be nice and level as you're working. So I'm just saying, it might be some you might help some people sleep better at night, Chris. Might help some people sleep.
I do need to paint this Avatar Kyoshi statue, this 3D printed statue that I have. But I think it's probably been a year now that I've had it, and I still haven't gotten around to painting it.
If you find 3D models to print, right? Does your local library have a 3D printer? Like, could you buy
You know what?
model
They
files? Or
do have a 3D
I've got some
printer.
friends with a 3D printer up here. If you send them the files, and I assume you'd have to give them some money for whatever that filament
I
material.
also tend to like, oh, do you? Okay. But no, I do need to look into that because the library does. Well, at least I used to. And I
The
went to the library a couple of weeks ago.
the other Tracy
Oh,
Ford has a pretty good 3D printer. I should send him the
oh
file,
yeah. Oh, okay.
and I don't know. It's worth trying. I've never bought whatever file type that is. Some kind of 3D file type. No idea what it is. Not familiar. Worth a shot sometime though. Chris, let's talk about. Well, that's not fair. We were talking about Avatar. We were talking specifically about Avatar models. No,
I
let's.
would love to get just like all the Avatar. Like, and I looked on eBay for a couple other ones, but I've only found Kyoshi. Like, I love to get one. I mean, because the collector in me, I'll just get every single
Sure,
figure
sure.
possible. And I thought, man, that's a
The
lot of money.
completion
Um,
gratification.
yeah, just these 3D printed things because most of them are made to order. The static one, which is a one sit statue, that was $100, I think. That's a lot of money for 3D print. And then the Kyoshi one, I think I spent 80 on it.
Yeah, I think the cost of those things is kind of the cost of how long the printer is tied up for, right? Like it's not literally the human
Mhm.
doing the labor, but like the cost of the printer that could be doing something else for somebody else, right? And it just takes a lot of hours. So I think that's the the pricing logic for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, no, you did not give off that vibe.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah,
I am mad at haircuts cost way too much nowadays. I say that
haircuts
as a
cost too
person who
much.
cuts his own hair.
100%. Chris, I get my hair cut at Great Clips, and I still, relative to Great Clips, it feels like too much. It used to be like my fail safe. I walk in with a 10, walk out with slightly less homeless looking hair. Gotta be carrying a couple 10s these days.
Mm.
I know it. It's tough. It's tough out there.
Just wondering how to cut your own hair. For some, I don't know, your hair seems harder to cut than my hair.
On one hand, I don't have a high bar for like how I expect to look, right? So on one hand, it's like, oh yeah, I mean, it'd probably be fine. But on the other hand, it's like, I don't just have whatever hair like Chris. I feel like your hair is just kind of mostly even up top, and maybe you have a little bit of a fade into the sides, or you just go straight even the whole way around.
Nah, I go a long time ago. I would just go a one across the whole thing.
Yeah, and just call it a day.
But now I've learned how to fade good enough. So yeah, I do a fade on the side, and then like a ball fade almost from the back and up, and then about a 3 on top.
I think I could almost do my own just because it's not too complex, and even my fade is very light. I just want a slight. I can't think of the right word. I just want it slightly shorter on the sides, and I want it to look like a natural gradient. Yeah. But they always spend a lot of time up here by this mess, like trying to thin it out and trying to.
It's weird back there,
and it's always messy. And no matter what they do, it's never right. But whatever. Thanks for trying.
I did find some clipper heads that fade for you. And there's the one that always comes with them that goes from like a 1 to a.
And it's like the angle
3 or 4 probably.
Bit, so
the angled one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of
nice. But I have one that's shorter than that. It goes from probably a 0.5 to a 1, or probably goes from a 0 to a 1, so you can get a shorter fade. You don't have to. I mean, you still have to play around and stuff with. Anyway,
sure, but just the idea, it's pretty.
We'll definitely have to put a timestamp in this.
Yeah, timestamp so that listen. If
there's some Avatar stuff in there. I just talked about this dragon and statues and stuff.
It feels like we should try to save it with a segue and be like, and I bet Aang cuts his with a straight razor. You know what I mean? Like,
he does.
Save it with a segue. I don't know if that's gonna work, but I want to try. Chris, yeah, let's talk about the topic at hand today, which was suggested by our friend Theo. Always nice to talk to you, Theo. Thank you so much. And it's just not just.
I saw that message. The thing is, I was up.
I was too. That's
he sent that message.
I was too.
And then I was like, I want to give this more thought, and so I'll just save this for later.
Another topic, another day. No, I think it's a fun topic because it's something we don't usually delve into. Usually, for example, we'll rank a bunch of benders against each other, but we always specify it's not necessarily head to head because sometimes good matchups, bad matchups. No, this is the opposite. We don't do this often enough. It's just a head to head matchup. Bending, I assume combative, right? Like we're not doing the NBA skills contest. We're going combat, and it's Lin versus Suyin Beifong. Who's the better bender? I guess it wouldn't have to be explicitly combat. I just assume that's a component.
No, let's go. We already, in our ranking of every bender and every earthbender within that. I forgot where we had them ranked at. I meant to look before this, but that's irrelevant.
I was gonna say that's actually okay because then it won't influence my decision. So.
Yeah. But that was more of just like who's the best bender. And being the best bender is more than combat. It has to do with it has to do way more than that. Your mastery of the skills, of the sub skills, of your match with the element itself. A couple other different variables in that. But when it comes to just fighting, that's a little bit different, and so that's what we'd like to talk about today. Who would win in a fight between those two?
I'd like to propose that we put the two of them in an. I'm going to say the arena itself is not destructible. So the outer form of the arena is not metal or something they can use, but that they have ample supplies of metal and rock and dirt, etc., inside of the arena to use as weaponry. I just don't want them like, well, Lin would bring the whole stadium down on top of scene. Like, nothing like that, right? Just, nope, it's a static arena that they are trapped in, a big one, but with ample material to work with. That's my proposal, at least.
Good with me.
Cool. Chris, that being said, how do you want to start? Do you want to highlight each character? Give me their fighting style?
Yeah, I think that's a good place to go. Let's not jump to the conclusion.
I would like to
savor that.
Yes, savor it. I would like to begin with Lin because I think hers is easier to identify, right? It's easier to explain, and that's just she's probably got a very practiced style, right? It feels like she probably knows every trick in the book, but the catch there is that it came from a book, right? I don't envision her as mixing and matching or whatever. It just very practiced and regimented style, probably straightforward, probably pretty abrasive, not defensive, but still offensively based, aggressive, not going to sit back. But again, can't stress enough, it's like by the book style, and I think that's what's going to be like a key differentiator between the two. I think she's probably going to be in, how do I say this? I think she's probably in good fighting shape, right? We're still talking about a person who's actively working and at the top of her field. I think she's going to be in peak fighting condition.
I would agree with that. I just feel like going to go grab my Lin Beifong statue. Have I showed this before?
That's a very attractive figure.
I love this statue. It's a great statue.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It was so weird that Lin. So this was the first statue released with the Legend of Korra, and they didn't. Like, this was the first statue. It wasn't Korra. It wasn't. In fact, Tenzin never got a statue.
Weird choice.
But like, it's so interesting that she's probably the. What would you say? She's probably the fourth most important character
in the first season. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, first season.
Let's start a fight by not with ourselves, but just among the audience by saying that. Put me down for sixth most important character in the first season. No explanation beyond that. No, that's a great.
And I mean, were you counting villains in that also, Shawn?
I don't know. I'll just have to comment angrily and see, and we'll talk about it later. Yes, I was personally.
But it's probably would be good. But
there's not enough color there. That's a weird first choice to me because it's not bright. It's not vibrant,
Yeah. I love her character design, though. We still haven't done an episode on character designs in Legend of Korra.
Oh, we haven't. Do that. Oh, good thought. I'll take a note.
Yeah.
Chris, talk to us about Suyin. What's her fighting style? What's her...
Oh, wait, let me go back to Lin.
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead. You didn't get a chance.
There's a couple things I want to add. Lin, I agree with absolutely everything you just said. She's probably way more by the book, way more structured in her bending practices. Like, she probably practiced nonstop what her mother taught her, and those things are like ingrained muscle memory into her. The other interesting thing about her is that she uses a lot of weapons on her body, like the pointy stabby thingies.
Are we allowing that, or are we saying you just got to come in some pretty bare clothes? I
think you come in as you normally would be.
Your average daily wear. That's fair.
Yeah. Okay. Which for Lin, it would be her Republic City suit. For Suyin, it would just be her flowy. I'll give her her armor that she wears in battle.
I think that's fair.
Yes. Okay. What you wear to battle?
Combat affair. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
And that doesn't put Suyin at a disadvantage just for not working in the line of fire,
Yeah. Lin is like the mayor of a major city. Yeah, her job isn't to wear combat stuff all the time.
Lin is like Lin's like a combo in a fighting game. It's cool, it's direct, it's big, but it's a predetermined, well practiced combo that you've used 100 times, maybe not 100 times, maybe 1,000 times. She's a
Yeah, and
good fighting combo.
she also has these cables that she uses a lot for really offense and defense, but that really allows her some range. Um, she doesn't really throw projectiles all that
The
often. I mean,
cables
she
are about the
will,
projectiles in their own
yeah,
right.
yeah. And she will throw huge chunks of rocks. Um, but the cable, she utilizes those cables a lot.
I don't. I love the cables as a viewer. As we sit here and we talk about the cables right now, I'm like, you know what? She's throwing out those cables that look like they just keep getting stretched thinner and thinner and thinner. Like, is there a certain point where they stretch and they're so thin that they're like breakable or
I would
hollow?
guess that
Or
I would guess her cables are probably 20 feet long.
does she just have really dense material cable on her person? So then when she whips it out 20 feet, it's at the
Yeah.
appropriate
So
cable
so
tensile
there's the
strength?
whole cable mechanism
Okay.
thing behind her, and like these old things like turn and stuff and
So you're
grind,
establishing that she does not
rotate back up.
elongate or manipulate the cable itself so much. She's using regular cables. It's just that she can throw and control
Yes.
them. Okay, that's good to know. I
Yes.
don't know if I've
Yeah.
ever noticed those things on her back, or at least didn't pay attention to it.
Oh yeah.
Hmm. Learn something new every day.
Other things about her fighting style. I think we probably covered a lot of it. She's probably more suited to fight a large group of people
Like
than
crowd
Su Yin
control.
would be. Yeah, because
Hmm,
of those cables.
I think so.
But that's not necessarily useful here on this one-on-one fight, but just something to note.
That makes enough sense to me too. Again, given the line of work,
Yeah. Oh, also her armor is she has way more armor. Like
just in
she's
general,
not
yeah.
necessarily. I mean, she's pretty mobile for how much armor she has, but it's a lot of armor.
Um, yeah. It's almost weird to think, the armor itself probably won't play a huge role here, but well, maybe it will. Let's talk Su Yin.
Su Yin Beifong. Uh, she is almost the. It's funny how different they are. Um, she's almost the earthbending uh antithesis of Lin.
Good
Like
word. Good word.
Lin is a yeah, I almost butchered it.
No, you did. You emphasized it so that I would hear it and be like, "That was nice."
um, Lin is a lot more flowy for an earth, it's very flowy for an earthbender. She's a lot more adaptive. Um, and she probably honestly, I feel like she uses a lot more circular motion than a lot of earthbenders do, which is circular motion is an airbending thing. Bagua, I think, I believe stands for circle walking. Um, and she's a lot lighter on the feet. I mean, she is a practiced dancer, so while her fighting skills aren't always, I think, honed at all times, her athletic abilities are continuously honed.
It feels like, based on personality, she's going to be more willing to use the tools around her rather than the tools she has on her. I think that's going to be a fun fighting element to discuss. Right, she's going to be
Hmm.
more willing to like whatever she can reach and use however she needs to, as opposed to, it just feels like Lynn's going to rely solely on the known commodities at her disposal. Not solely, but primarily.
And I think Su Yin uses more projectiles. She also, like you said, uses more of the of her surrounding environments. It's interesting in that fight with the Red Lotus when they tried to kidnap Korra. Like, and this fight is kind of out of nowhere. Like, this is an impromptu fight. They are not ready. They're in their underwear stuff, which is really interesting. I love that. That's one of my favorite episodes of anything. Um, but like her and Lin are working together to fight Zahir, and she already has like like she throws these metal daggers, almost like maze daggers. Well, they're not. They're just little. No, no, they're almost like ninja stars,
They're not
but
star shaped,
more
but they're
like an
ninja
arrow.
star like projectiles. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and she
I get
throws
that.
them at his air glider. So for her to be like not prepared, but still have that stuff at the ready, I think says a lot about how she utilizes those projectiles just in a impromptu fighting scenario.
Not that this plays a huge role at all, but it wasn't her that threw the piece of metal at Pali that killed Pali.
Yeah, yes.
Because I feel like I asked myself, at least inside my head, if not out loud already, is like, if it were Lin throwing it, like Lin wouldn't have chopped her head, like Lin would have just thrown a rock and hit her in the face and killed her that way. So there's like a more elegant TV friendly solution, and that was all Suyin. Again, none of that plays a role. It's just something I've thought about.
Yeah, and the thing is about Suyin, her biggest feather in her cap, if you will, is that she went toe to toe with Kuvira after being, probably malnourished for some, maybe not. Anyway, being locked up, and that is one of my favorite fights. Like it is beautifully animated, and she is so freaking good and adaptive to like right that fight. She's fighting Kuvira, and then at one point she can probably feel it or just sees the metal behind her. She backs up, takes the metal off like a panel, wraps it around herself as armor real quick, and then grabs this bar, twisted it, and it takes around her, and then like hits. And then I think she throws. That helps her throw like some metal crate or something. Like she is freaking adaptive. Like I can never see Lin Beifong doing something like that, something so off the cuff.
Yeah, nor can I. Nor can I. Um, Final thoughts on Suyin? How
Um.
much does rage get to play a role in here? Like just the generic anger rage issue of Lin?
Oh, I think it could play a role definitely,
Excellent.
for good or bad.
Fantastic. Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
Oh, if we're getting to sure, let's get into. Well, I guess we talked tactics a little bit.
Yeah. No, it's
Not
time
very
to,
much
Chris,
going
it's time to start slinging out answers like just wild and reckless.
on. Okay. Let's. We'll almost do it how um Antoine Bandelet does it sometimes, where he'll in his fight, YouTuber slash Arthur,
Hmm?
he'll be like, all right, this round to start here, this round to start here. I won't be so pinpoint there, but I think anyway, at first the fight is very even. Like this is not a quick fight at all. There, it it'll just be them one upping each other, but not a quick fight. This fight is going to drag out.
I think I think Lin has a slight edge early on in the fight. I think she's going to go in with a better plan. So I think opening up the fight, Lin is going to be sort of very aggressive, and it's going to work at least slightly to her favor in the early going as Suyin kind of comes to creative grips with her surroundings.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's very true. Um, yeah, because part of being able to adapt, part of being good at adapting, I think, is having to take the time to assess
You're
the
still
situation.
formulating a plan based on what you have, right? It's still a process. Now, hopefully,
Yeah,
it's a quick process, but
yeah.
yeah. So early going. Personally, I'm giving early slight edge to Lin. The rage is going to
Mm.
come out early too, right? It's going to be some expedited
Oh, you think the
energy
rage is
spent
coming out?
early.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
right. She's going to come out angry and throwing haymakers, right out of the gate. I feel like
Mm.
she's crowd control
Side
too,
note,
right? Like she's a cop. She doesn't mess around. She doesn't toy with people. There's not like a setup process. It's like no, there's kind of one mode and it's
that's
take no
true.
mode. So I think you're going to see that early.
That's true. When it comes to their exertion of effort, Lin, I think, is going to be up here all the time, while Suyin is going to be, more of a roller coaster.
Agreed. Suyin's going to find the next thing, and it's going to work to her, advantage for a moment, and then she's going to find the next thing, or she's going to find spots to take breathers while she reevaluates.
Yeah.
So
Oh, one thing we didn't talk about is that they did fight before, and the fight came to a draw, but Lin was not 100% in the fight. Lin was more like, she was dealing with whatever issues she was dealing with. She was having a fever dream and stuff. She was probably, I don't know, 65%.
um,
Just throwing that out there.
yeah, and that feels accurate. Chris, as the fight goes on, I think it's a spotty. I think there's like there's a jarring. There's no rhythm to this fight, and I think that's by Suyin's design. So I think Lin expends a lot of energy up front, and Suyin is finding ways to sort of be evasive and devise tactics to kind of buy her time to let Lin wear herself out. And think about her next strategy. Think about her actual offensive strategy when the time is right. So I think it's a choppy fight where it feels like Suyin is playing defense, but she's strategizing. She's buying her time.
Yeah. I think middle round, somewhere in there, is even, or Suyin gets a slight edge, at least in the point that Lin will tire a little bit more. She'll be forced to slow down a little bit. Um, so yeah, I think I agree with that. And then once you get later in the fight, thing about Lin is that Lin uses the whips a lot, but those whips are probably gonna start to slow down as you get into it. And Suyin, being the dancer she is, being the acrobat, I think she'll be able to dodge those a lot better. Both of them know seismic sense, so it's gonna really, I think, just negate from each other. Um, but I think Suyin is going to be able to dodge some of those metal, um, dang it, rope cables, those metal cables attacked. And that's a lot of That's a lot of Lin's main fighting tactics when it comes to 1v1.
Yeah, that makes no sense. Which rolls us into the final rounds.
Yeah, I
I
think
Yeah, go ahead. No,
you
you
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, so I don't
I
want
was
to.
wondering how long we would do that for.
How
No, you go. You go.
midwestern can we be in
Yeah.
one sentence? I I don't want to paint Lin as an idiot. Lin isn't gonna keep beating the same dead horse over and over again, right? Like if the whips aren't working on it, she's not just gonna keep it. She's gonna think. She's gonna think of something else. But I just think that isn't gonna be her strength. And I think that Suyin is going to be one step ahead of her by the time that Lin has to get off of her first, by the time she has to get out of her primary rhythm or primary routine. And I think that's going to play into Suyin's hands as a creative and in shape adult. And I think that Suyin would find a way to creatively incapacitate. Maybe not to the tune of throwing a piece of metal at her face and wrapping it around her head so that she dies, but creatively incapacitated. Like it wouldn't be a direct attack that did Lin in. It would be something else. It kind of luring her into a trap, or uh, it wouldn't be like a direct head-on shot. But I do think that Suyin would, maybe 3 out of 4 times or 2 out of 3 times would prevail. Not a huge number, not like 9 out of 10. I'll say 2 out of 3 times it would prevail.
Not 9 out of 10.
I'll say 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4. I'll have to think about that.
Um, I I think in this final round, I imagine in my head like, all right, Suyin got the edge coming into the final rounds. Lin is on kind of on the cuffs of defeat, and she rages out, gets in a a massive blow, Suyin, and you think Lin has won the fight, but there is that one little thing that Suyin planned ahead that ended up knocking out Lin. Whether it's a small little pebble, whether it's
It's something
her
unexpected, right?
her
It's
katara,
not.
that's not katara, tiara, her tiara that she wears. Something is going to hit Lin that is going to be like the checkmate move that wasn't shown. Like wow, like and so they're both on the ground, and then Lin. Wait, I'm sorry. Then Suyin rises victoriously.
And it's gonna be something unexpected. It's not gonna be the thing that you think, or it's gonna be that detail that she planted earlier, some tower that she left, or some hollowed out ground that they're standing on that she left with an earlier tactic, right? And it's gonna be that thing that
Yeah,
that does Lin in.
I just I just watched this. But yeah, I do think, and I agree with your. I think 2 out of 3 is
I
a
think that's
good
like
66%. Actually, that might even be too high. I think.
but somewhere in that ballpark of definitively statistically more often, right? Like we're not trying to back out of our vote, but
Yeah,
not a
66%
huge
good too.
weight.
Because I'm in my head 6 out of 10 times or 2/3 of the time.
Somewhere
I
in that
can't
ballpark.
get to. I don't think I can get to 70% of the time.
I can't either.
So 66 seems like a good number.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
so. I think so. Plus,
I
as
just want to.
siblings, you do everything in threes, right? If you're competing as a
Mm,
sibling, you inherently every thumb war, every paper scissors rock, whatever, it's all in threes.
sure.
So I don't know. I think it's pretty valid. Chris, good
I just watched
thoughts.
this. I just watched this anime where it's called Doctor Stone. Love it. Great anime. Um, where they have to fight for this stone thing that can turn people into stone. Um, and like this one guy, evil guy, has it, and so like he does it. It's like you fool, I have the upper hand, and eventually and then the good guy is like, haha, I thought of this, and it's just this like back and forth to where it eventually ends with one way or the other. Like you think it goes one way, and then it goes the other way, and it finally ends. That might be how this fight is, like how the fight ends.
Like a bit of a tropey anime ness
Yeah.
to it. And listen, it's a trope because it works. It's engaging. It
One of these
works.
days, soon, we're gonna. 'Cause I keep thinking about it, we're gonna do this episode of what if Avatar actually was an anime, and need to bring on a guest to do it because I mean I could do it myself, which is that you don't have a. I like to bring in someone also a third
Yeah.
party
Well,
to
and
give it.
I won't have good strong contributions. I'll mostly be an observer. I don't have
I think you've watched enough anime that you would have some opinion about,
I
some
probably,
thoughts on
right,
how
but
Avatar would be
I had
different.
such a narrow slice of like child, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Digimon, Americanized anime. Like it's a very narrow slice, which is fine. I like contributing from that slice. It's great, but I would want a third voice if possible.
You haven't watched any recent anime? You watched a little bit of. No, you caught. Well, you watched a lot of My Hero, I think.
Yeah, I made it through the first. I'm gonna call them like two big story arcs, like 60
Yeah.
plus
Okay.
episodes. Right?
Okay.
Loved the first
Mhm.
arc. Kind of fell off on the second one a little bit.
Okay.
Um,
Is that the Hero Killer Stain arc?
yeah,
Uh,
it just didn't do it for me as much as the original arc.
yeah. Mm.
What else do I watch these days? Gosh, I watch way too much
Y-
YouTube.
y- And you still couldn't get into Attack on Titan? Did you
Too
say it was
depressing,
too? Wait,
man. Can't do it. Makes me think.
okay. So
Makes me make depressed
Attack on
thoughts.
Titan just ended. Just ended like 3 weeks ago. The series finale. After they did. Anyway, we're for those who are sticking around. We're done with the
Oh
with
yeah,
the.
sorry. We picked Suyin, and I'll put a timestamp in if I can find the time.
But spoilers for Attack on Titan. Just shut. If you're even thinking about watching Attack on Titan, shut off this video right now
Yeah,
because it's a
spoiler
great
perfect.
anime.
Right here
But
at, let
Shawn
me see
doesn't
where
care
we're
about
at. We're at
spoilers.
40 minutes and 45 seconds. If you, I'll put it in there like random Attack on Titan spoilers.
So the anime just ended, right? The main character dilemma was so the whole. I told you enough about Attack on Titan. There's a race of people. The whole world hates them.
Mm.
The whole world wants to kill all of them. Um, but there's one person within that world named Eren Yeager. Eren Yeager is how they pronounce his name all the time. He gets the power of like the founding Titan. But the founding Titans, her name is Ymir, and she was a slave, and to like this king, and this king is the one who like used the Titans' powers to like kill a bunch of people and rule the world and stuff, and that's why the whole world hates Eldians. Eldians are the ones who turn into Titans. But that happened like 2,000 years ago, somewhere around there. And the new Eldians, their memories have been wiped. They have no. They are actually persecuted by the Titans. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting too into the weeds. The main character, his choice is this: he could kill the whole world and save Eldia, because the whole world will kill Eldia if they get the chance, and they will get the chance, and probably they're not too far. They made a whole world alliance to go to Eldia and kill them all. And eventually, technologies get to a point where they will probably will get atomic bombs at some point. They don't say this in the show, but I know that's just where they're
That's
like
the
have fighter
trajectory.
jets and stuff. Yeah. Um. So his thing is the trolley problem. I can save these people, or I can kill all of these people. And this is like the whole world. I kill innocent people and stuff, children, everything. Or he can let the whole world kill him and his people. Well, he decides killing everyone. No, I'm sorry, not everyone. He decides I'm killing the whole world. Not everyone, just the whole world. I'm sorry, I keep the rest of the world to save Eldia.
He
And so
decides
these
on his
giant,
people over the world, essentially.
yes,
Yeah, okay.
yes.
With you.
That would be darker if he decides to kill just everybody. Um,
Yeah,
and
that's
so
Chris like,
yeah,
Shawn,
and so
watch
the
this show. It's
show,
definitely not
yeah.
depressing. Here.
Then his friends are like, "No, Aaron, like you can't do this. Like you can't kill the whole world." And he's like, "You can stop me if you want to. You can try." Like he could, he gets the power to like change them if he wanted to. Like if he wanted to, he could take away like his friends' powers and stuff. But he's like, the thing he values over everything is freedom. He's like, I'm giving you guys freedom to make whatever choice you want to make. I made my choice. You guys make your choice. If you want to come and try and stop me, feel free to do so. And so they all band together and they kill him. They stop him from destroying the whole world. He did destroy 80%. He killed like 80% of the population before they got to him. And then he's able. This Titan power is weird. There's this like alternate dimension called the paths where time is not a thing. He can talk to people in there. He can also take away their memories. And so before he set out to kill the whole world, he had he made time with them in the paths to like talk about like, hey, this is what like he just to have a conversation with them. And then he had that conversation with them. Then he erased their memories of that even happening, and then they went on to go kill him. And then when he died, he gave them back those memories of that time that he spent with them before they came to go try and kill him. And afterwards, they're like, "Oh my gosh! Like you were they were a lot more empathetic towards him because he was like, I tried to figure this out. Like I tried to do it many different ways, but it was like I couldn't figure out this was like the only solution I could have of like me becoming the big villain of the world and for you guys to kill me. Like the whole world will see that you gave up paradise to save the whole world. Like you were safe, but you guys risked your lives to kill me and save the rest of the world. And that way, the rest of the world will look at Eldians in a better light. And that, but also he killed enough of the world that their technology and resources would be the same as Eldia. But anyway, it did end in a like a dark,
Yeah, that
dark
sounds
way.
pretty dark, man. Were you satisfied with how it ended? It seems that like your body language and your tone seems like you generally appreciated how it wound up.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it's funny. It's it's funny. The manga readers, and I am original. I read the manga first because I was like, I can't wait and for this. Like, they started off the finale like 3 years ago. They were like, series finale, part one, and then it was like series finale, part two, chapter one. Then it was series finale, part two, chapter, and then I just kept, and I was like, I can't do this. So I just read the manga. The
Sure.
manga readers were like split, and then the anime watchers mostly enjoyed it. I don't know why there was some difference there. It was interesting, but I don't think it could have ended really any other way. Um, some people think Aaron is like uh, a sociopath, and I'm like, no, I don't think he's like he did what he did because he thought he was. I'm not. I'm just like I understood why he did it. Like it's it's an option. I'm not sure I would be able to make the option. I'm
Yeah,
not
I
sure I
don't know if
wouldn't
I
make
could
that
make that
choice.
call.
I, but no, I mean I like on it. The thing is that when looking back on it, I blame for things getting to a point, and I think people miss. I think the point of the show. The point of the show isn't to be like genocide is bad, Aaron is evil. The point is you need to have empathy and understanding and move past your hatred for others before it ever gets to this point. Like what Aaron did isn't right, but it's also not right for the whole world to try and kill all of them. Like there was no rights or wrongs. No, there some people were definitely wrong. There there was, but the choice there was no right or wrong between the choices that he had to make, whether let the world kill him or kill the whole world. Like there was no right or wrong choice between those two. The real villains of the show is this group of people who were uh, called Marley. They were like con- they were controlling the Eldians. Like they would. So a long time ago, the Eldians lived with Marley, and they like persecuted Marley. Then the king of Eldia said, "All right, I'm gonna leave y'all alone. We did bad stuff in the past. We're just gonna go away to the island, and I'm gonna make a border around the island and make the walls. If you guys come here, then we'll kill all you guys." But that was a bluff. He was gonna let. But anyway, some people stayed behind, and so Marley kept those people in like concentration camps and stuff, and then like forced them to. Sometimes they would transform some of them and send them off to Eldia so they can go and kill Eldians as huge titans. So Marley was weaponizing this hate of Eldia, and Marley would also like they'll talk to Eldians and be like, "Oh, you could be a good like honorary Marleyan if you fight on behalf of us, and maybe we'll treat you like somewhat like a human being." But they like this was like Jewish concentration camps type of stuff. Like one person let one guard, Marley guard, like killed a little girl by feeding her to his dogs. Like it's that type of sadistic stuff that Marley was doing. So Marley is the real villain of the show. But um I forgot what point I was trying to make. The
You just
yeah,
mentioned that
anyway.
people might take away the wrong thing from the show. Genocide, bad.
Yeah.
Um,
But don't be like Marley, because Marley was weaponizing the hatred of Eldia. And like Marley was the ones who gathered the whole world to be like, Eldia's terrible. Like we all got to gather up together, even though Marley is also hated by a lot of the world because Marley would use the power of the Titans to win all their wars. And so like the Eldians who stayed behind, Marley would almost brainwash them and being like, "Yeah, sure, you're in this like Jewish concentration camp now, but if you fight with us, if you use this power, then maybe you'll become an honorary Marleyan, and then maybe we won't treat you like crap." And so they not only use the power of the Titans to like take over lots of parts of the world, and then the whole world's like, "Holy crap! Yeah, these Titans are terrible. They've been killing us." And then Marley being like, "Yeah, you think we're bad? Well, them over there, they got all the Titans and stuff. But them over there, they had no clue that the world was even around. Like all their memories were wiped. They thought they were the last of humanity. The Eldians did. Anyway, explain this show to you. You're probably picking up like half of it.
I mean, I followed most of it. You relive things with good detail that allow me to follow.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. More of the story is don't give in to hate. Give in to empathy. Think about others. Think about what they're going through, their lives. Stop the hate. Is I think is the moral of the story.
I've been sitting here for about 10 minutes trying to think. I was like, Shawn, you gotta have watched some anime recently, right? I've come up with a few that like I've dabbled in but didn't stick very well. That time I was reincarnated as a slime, I watched the first season. It was amusing, but for some reason I never followed up. But it was amusing.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
not into those. They call those slice of life
yeah,
anime,
fair enough.
and granted, I never really tried them, and so just I don't know. I just like oh, what have I been watching recently? Which I guess is called anime. I liked it a lot. Is it's called Blue Eye Samurai. It's on Netflix. It's about it takes place in 1600 Japan. It's about this lady samurai who is half white, hence the blue eyes, and she wants to kill who she thinks could be her father. There's like four white men in Japan, and she's like, "I'm gonna kill them all." She d- because her father's evil, or all the white men in Japan are evil. Like they're bringing opium, they're bringing uh, guns and stuff. It's like she's like, "I'm gonna kill them," and she's on this revenge kind of thing. Great show. I enjoyed watching it. It just came out like not too long ago. 8 episodes, about 40 minutes each. Good fighting, good anime, good strong characters. Good watch.
I had to dig all the way to like pre-pandemic times when I was watching back then. Once upon a time, I watched like 2 seasons of Fairy Tale, and I really enjoyed the first, I want to say 2-ish seasons.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of seasons. And then I remember specifically, and I don't know, it wasn't you, but maybe it's somebody at con or something like that. It's like, oh yeah, I really enjoy Fairy Tale, and they're like, hey, you got to watch this new Netflix series called The Seven Deadly Sins. Not that there's like necessarily a ton in common, but similar
Mm-hmm.
genres of anime. I was like, oh cool. And then I watched Seven Deadly Sins, and I even like I do this for everything, right? I was like, I looked at some online reviews for both shows, compared, contrast, like what am I getting myself into? Okay, very similar reviews, similar commentary online. Because I don't know what it was about Seven Deadly Sins. I didn't like it so much that it like turned me off of anime for apparently a couple of years. I didn't even go back to
Uh,
Fairy Tail, which I wouldn't say I loved it, but I
yeah.
enjoyed it, I guess.
I have never watched Fairy Tale. I tried to watch Seven Daily Sins. I was like,
There's
I don't get the big, I don't get the big. Like, I watched maybe 7 episodes of it. I was like, I don't get it. It's not.
yeah. I don't know. I saw why whoever that was that told me that they were similar. Like I understood why he was making the recommendation, but didn't. It felt more nebulous. Everything felt more nebulous and arbitrary in Seven Deadly Sins to me.
Sean, I think you would like Doctor Stone. It's not your
Doctor
traditional,
Stone.
yeah, Doctor Stone. It's not your, it's not your traditional anime. A lot of it, it's so the show. Have I told you about Doctor Stone? No.
No,
Okay.
like it's only
The
familiar in namesake, and I don't know if that's from you or just generically. I got nothing.
so one day, randomly, every person on the planet is turned into stone. Like, and then there's this guy named Senku. He's this like high school kid, really smart, brilliant, like scientist. Science is his like his thing. He's the science guy. Even more than Bill Nye. It'll be interesting if like a crossover. Probably would be great. But he one day he just wakes up and he's like, "Oh, it must be the year. It must have been like 3,000 years since then." Because right when he turned into stone, like he's conscious and everything. He's like, "Holy crap! I gotta keep time." And so he counts the whole time because it's like he's like it's so important for me. He's like I know I'm going to wake up at some point and I need to know the time. I need to know the day, the stuff. So he counts for like 3,000 years. Then he wakes up and I still don't know how he woke up or I might have forgot. They probably mentioned it. But he wakes up and he's a scientist. He's like, "Okay, everyone is turned to stone. Something must have happened. I got to figure out how to bring back humanity." And it's just this story about like science and growth and friendship, of course. Whole bunch of science in there. Like they'll be in like they're pretty much in the Stone Age, and he'll be like, all right, like he has to create like these new inventions, not new. He has to recreate inventions, even though he doesn't have current technology. He's like, we're gonna make a cell phone, and then like they're like, what? He's like, yeah, it's easy. You do this and this and this. And like apparently, according to whatever research I've seen, like all the science he does is like sound science stuff. Like and the people there's one lady from Mythbusters who's like, oh, I love this show. Forget that one random lady.
What is the redheaded one? The
Yeah.
nice. Doctor Stone.
Yeah.
Is
Dr.
it on a
Stone. It's a good
streaming
show.
service? I have.
It is on Hulu.
Okay.
I think at least the first season's on
Hulu's got a
Hulu.
pretty wide array of
Actually, it
anime.
might be yeah. Yeah, I think it's on Hulu.
Um,
Current
I
season is not, but
I'm thinking
yeah.
back farther, and it's not something that I personally would want to watch again. But I do tend to like. I tend to enjoy really self-aware things, so not necessarily silly, like it doesn't have to be a comedy, but self-aware of genre and context. And one time way back when, and I think we talked about it on the show, I watched all of Kill La Kill in like a weekend, and I
I never
really
seen Color Kill.
appreciate its again like that kind of self-aware commentary on the larger genre. Made me laugh even when it was not funny. Um,
Uh,
I thought it did a nice, like I said, not something I'd ever go back to. I'm just like, oh, I like it when shows do this.
my daughter is really into anime right now. Like more than she's like, I'm a bigger Naruto fan than you. And at first I'm like, Psh, no, you're not. And then I'm like, wait,
Hold
she
on.
actually is a bigger fan
This is the
than
nerd
I
dad
am.
equivalent of like starting to lose. Like you can't let your kids win anymore. Like now you have to start trying at stuff, right? This is the
No,
nerd
because for me to
equivalent.
win, I would have to have posters of Naruto all
And
around
enough
my
free time to
room.
watch a lot of
And
Naruto.
I watch a lot of it. She recently watched it all, and so that's probably my second time. Well, no, I didn't watch it. She watched plenty of episodes without me. Um, but Naruto's great. Love Naruto. It's a long one. Definitely a long one.
That's what I hear.
That's
That's what I
not
hear.
too bad, really. Like, there's a lot of filler, but just look up the filler list and skip the filler.
Yeah. Well, even
And
like Fairy Tale, I looked up just now, just like, oh, how much, should I go back and watch more? Like, no, it was like 10 seasons. And that's something kind of recent.
yeah,
Adds up quick.
the uh, the Yu Yu Hakusho live action comes out in 2 weeks. Yeah, and don't think it's gonna be good.
I'd say how exciting for you, maybe, kind of.
No, like
Question mark.
the Avatar trailer puts me right there. I'm like, oh crap! Like my excitement has increased, and I see the Yu Yu Hakusho trailer. I'm just like, I know this isn't gonna be great.
Is that a Netflix thing also?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like they did it. They did it to where it's like it sounds maybe dumb of me, but they did the version that they would do in Japan. They did not do an Americanized version. Like it's dubbed. Like it's like it's the movie is a Japanese production and stuff. And I'm saying those movies are bad. Some of them can be good. The Rurouni Kenshin live action movies are great. Like they really are great. And I didn't even like that show, that anime. I don't think I've ever even finished it. But the movies are freaking great.
It just maybe is not what you were hoping for.
I don't know, I'm hoping for like an Americanized Yu Yu Hakusho movie where probably cast is mostly Asian, but you throw in a little diversity here, just a little bit. Add one, make one character white, make one character black or something else, and then make them all speak English, and their actors speak. Because the dub for Yu Yu Hakusho is so good that I think when it's in Japanese, it loses a little bit of that I love about it. Because Yusuke Urameshi, just the way he talks to people is it's just so funny to me. But it's not. He's so pride. No, he's not prideful, but he's so assured of himself sometimes, and he can be rude and abrasive, and that would just be great. I think that it just doesn't come across that type of comedy just doesn't come across in a Japanese voice actor.
Just want to say for all the times that we spent too much time talking about basketball.
Oh, I'm going to the Lakers
This
game.
is the payback. Oh, no kidding. That's awesome.
Yeah. So going to Tulsa around Christmas time. So we're planning that, and I was like, you know what? Let me look, see if the Lakers are playing the Thunder anytime. And they're playing the Thunder on the 23rd at OKC, and so get to
That's
go to
awesome.
my first NBA game. That should be a lot of fun.
Well, and like the Thunder, they're no slouches either, right? So
Yeah.
that's it's not like you're watching them play the Wizards or something. So that's exciting. No offense, Wizards fans. I doubt there's
Not
a
all
huge.
offense to Wizards fan. When the last time they need to be relegated or something? Wizards have sucked for far too long.
2 years ago, they made the play-in tournament thingy, but they didn't make the playoffs. 2 years ago, and like they were really
No,
big on Davis Bertans back then. You remember that guy, Bertans?
no, I don't.
Yeah, yep. There
But
you have it.
some teams have just been like too bad for too long. You should lose
Listen,
your
I don't
team.
love soccer,
It,
but I would like to see more sports adopt that system. It's
I
fun.
mean, I don't. I say that. I'm not sure if I would like.
Not at the
But
professional level, but like, what if college conferences were more like relegation and derelegate? You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like instead of like, well, you're a Power Five conference and you're a mid major, it's like, nope, you're the Champions Conference, and then this is the next tier lower. You know what I mean? So only good
Hmm.
teams only get to play other good teams. To win
Yeah, so,
to win real national championships, you can't just be lucky this year. You have to be good and keep getting better, and then play only other good teams. I don't know if it's a good idea. I kind of do appreciate that system, but I'm only saying
yeah.
that because Jason Sudeikis was at the KU game tonight and it was kind of fun. It was a
Oh, okay,
KU
okay.
basketball game, and above the play where the players run out, they like took a picture of him with like a
I saw
believe
that.
sign. It was very cute.
Oh, was he dressed up?
No, he was just Jason Sudeikis, but they put the
He
believe sign
looked
up there.
okay. I
I
saw
believe Dustin Watson
maybe
posted the picture.
okay. Maybe my brain saw the believe sign, saw Jason Sudeikis, and just thought it was
You
from
just put a
Ted
mustache
Lasso. Because
on.
my brain honestly did that.
I believe that. I'll have to look and see if that's not the case. But no, I think he was just dressed up in like a KU shirt and stuff. But
Okay.
yeah, he was there tonight. That's kind of fun. And then, like, randomly 2 weeks ago in Maui, Vince Vaughn was at a KU game. I don't know why, just random people showing up at these games. Yeah, but anyway. Chris, hope you had a nice Thanksgiving / Thursday. Next week when we come back, we'll talk about something else that we haven't discussed just yet. Chris asked me to send him the ratings today, so I feel like in the next few weeks we're gonna start getting into some ratings discussions and stacking things
we
up
still
together.
have not ranked. The thing is, because I just want to do the analysis on it. That's why I didn't need it today.
Fair enough.
But I want to look at where does each season of Avatar rank on average rating per episode. So that's probably the fairest way. But also want to know how it skews and stuff. Like what seasons have the highest, the largest ranges and stuff. What's the standard deviation? No, I'm kidding. I'm not looking at standard deviation. Uh,
You send me back the results when you're done putting it together.
I've been taking a Lean Six Sigma class, green belt class, and that the class is finally over with. But I had to like rethink about standard deviation and what exactly does that mean and stuff. Like in my head, I love stats in college. It was probably one of my favorite courses. And that's probably finance 201 or something like that. Um, but yeah, that was a good course. And so my head, I'm just thinking about a lot of statistics.
We covered a wide range of topics on the show today. It's been a very
This show is everywhere. Although we haven't talked in a while,
yeah.
so
It's been a
maybe that's why.
3 weeks at least. We just a lot of things on our chest that we got to get off. Next week.
Oh, one
Next week will
thing.
be so straight line and focused. You won't even believe it's the same podcast.
Yeah. I'm done doing interviews for the positioning to fill, and I did not. One thing, people write better resumes. One page, just one
One page.
page.
You are not
But
2 pages more important than the next person applying for the same job.
but I don't think I realized is try career advice from Chris. Try to get in on doing interviews for people because it will tell you a lot on what people during interviewers are thinking about and what they kind of want to see. I've never been involved in an interview before, so these are like my first interviews, and I'm just like, wrap it up. Sometimes I'm just like, you are talking way too long. Wrap it up. Wrap it up. I'm like, oh my.
You're trying to give them polite
But
hints.
like the first question is just, hey, tell me something. The question specifically, tell me about your background. Tell me about yourself and a little about your background. That question should not be. It's just an intro. Just tell me about your past,
That
stuff
seems like three
your ebb and
minutes to
flows of
5 minutes.
career.
Like
Like,
5 minutes, you're probably too long. 3 minutes ideal,
yeah,
give or take.
yeah. So one person just took forever, and so what gets to a certain point that I am honestly not like I've taken notes, and then I'm just like I don't think you have that much more to add to this. But one guy had a terrible interview, and it was rough, and I feel like I wasted in his 10 minutes into the interview. I'm like, I know I'm not gonna hire you. Like I want to be like, we can just end this now, but that's so rude.
Well, and I think it is technically found to be unethical for not like giving them the full experience.
Oh yeah, no, Shawn, I wouldn't do
Yeah.
it. Just in my
I know
head,
but
I'm
it's
just.
bad that you can't like listen. No, there's no way you're gonna overcome this.
I don't know what you're gonna do, but I have examples for things. Do you have example? Do you use examples for every question?
I try to have examples
If
for every
if it
question.
if it yeah
Yeah, I
yeah I
try to
do too.
have a real life example from every question.
Yeah
It doesn't always work out that way, but
yeah. But I do have some great candidates, and then there's always I've never had to hire someone before, So there's the balance of people who I think would be a great fit for me to work with, and then who I think can do the job the best. I think of the four candidates I'm reviewing, they can each do the job well. Some might take longer to catch up to it than the others. But some of those people I probably could work, I'd probably be a better manager too. Like, I feel like they would need me more. Like, I don't know. Just interesting things I never really thought about on the other side. But I feel somewhat bad. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have felt as bad as like being mad at people pay less for not hiring me for a job. I remember one time Liz didn't give me a promotion, and she was like, we just felt like this is when I forgot his name. You're friends with him. Uh, oh my gosh, Zach. Uh,
Hmm?
Zach got promotion over me, and that pissed me off. Because Zach was my analyst, and I trained him on various things. Um, but and this was the point in time where I was like trying to become a merch planner for like at least 6 months, or maybe longer than that. And so and people just kept becoming merch planners, and I wasn't. And like her only response to me was like, "Well, she told me I didn't get the job." She was like, "We just felt like he would be a better fit." I was pissed. So I went home. I punched the ironing board. Still a dent. No, I don't have the ironing board anymore.
Because it's broken. You broke it
Yeah,
in
I threw it
half,
away.
obviously.
Just,
That's
but then I started thinking. But now I'm thinking. Now I'm like, I might not hire this person just because this other person is technically a better fit with me. But in talking to this one lady, we're going wide range. It's okay. People have cut off by now.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think people who are done might have been done at the 40-minute mark when we started talking about Attack on Titan spoilers, right? They don't want to hear those spoilers.
that's, that's true. But then I was talking to this lady who works in like workforce development stuff, and she was like, for the most part, interviews are just about, and this was like a long time ago. I had this conversation with her a year ago. She's like, interviews a lot of times just to see if like that person thinks they can work well with you, they get along with you, and stuff like that. She's like, you're at the interview stage, they know you could probably do the job. So a lot of it's just about fit
You've
with the team.
literally met all the qualifications at that point.
Yeah. So I shouldn't feel, no matter which way I go, I don't think I should feel that bad. But
I
I
mean,
guess I gotta make that choice next week.
sometimes there's not really a wrong choice. You hope you make a better choice than there's a worse choice, but like, hey,
Yeah.
there's a very good chance
And
that
the thing
both of
is
those
that
choices would work out completely fine.
the thing is, I think I've realized as a parent that I become a people pleaser to a certain extent.
Mhm.
Cause like I hate, because my kids are like, "Hey, do this with me." I'm like, "All right." And then another kid like, "Do this with me." I'm like, "All right." Then my wife is like, "Hey, do this." I'm like, "All right." Yeah, I get to. I'm like, "Oh crap! I had this. My day is gone." So now I think I've become somewhat more of a people pleaser. So now I'm going to have to disappoint someone, and then like, oh no, I don't like doing that. So it's just an interesting change for me in this sense. I never had to do this. Have to tell someone bad news if I don't hire them. But so it's just
You're peak dad. You're
interesting
good at
thing.
pleasing all your kids all the time. There's a reasonable, very reasonable chance that like whatever choice you make is going to work out, very well. So it just not a bad place to be. You just feel a little bad for the other person.
Yeah. Oh well.
And when they ask for your feedback, you're just like, the other candidate was also great.
I I really wanted to add a question of like, 'cause I like interviews to be a little different. I want to ask one of those random questions that have completely no bearing on the job or anything. I wanted to be like, oh, what superpower would you like? But I know that would actually um, affect my perception of him.
Hmm?
Like, it's such a silly question. But I was like, no, I shouldn't ask that question.
Yeah, that's part of the gig, I'm afraid. But I'm sure you did a delightful job. Very professional all certain. This has been Career Conversations with Chris. Tune in later for ASMR statue painting. Listen.
Shout out to anyone who's still watching. If you're still watching, please let us know, because I'm just curious.
If you're still watching, send me your PayPal. I'm going to send you $1. I'm just going to straight up. You still watching, you tell me what I'm saying right now and what minute marker this is. I'm marking it down. I'll send you $1. Yeah. Listen, Chris, I just think there's a good possibility that doing some statue painting to some pleasant talk and description, I think that could help some people relax. But speaking of that, I'm going to go to bed because I'm going to wake up pretty early tomorrow for a video game swap meet convention thing. I don't want to call it convention because just people selling stuff, but it's a big one. So
yeah, that's not a convention.
It's not. There's not panels or things, but there are YouTube type celebrities and of the cosplay and show variety. Not panels though, right? They're just there. And it's in the Overland Park Convention Center. It's taken up like half of it, so it's not massive, but it's big. And that's tomorrow. And so I'm gonna go spend money frivolously that I didn't spend on Black Friday. It'll be great. All right. Thanks for listening. If you're still here, congratulations.
You did it, my. It's like Willy Wonka. You did it, my boy.
You did it, my boy. Exactly like you made a mistake by staying here this long, but your payoff is us impersonating Gene Wilder.
That movie's so freaking weird.
It's messed up, and I refuse to say that I like it because I can't. It's the new one is worse. The old one is weird. Anyway,
the new one is coming out in a couple weeks.
Oh, I forgot there was a new one.
Yeah,
I probably
with
won't
Timothée
see
Chalamet.
Oh, I do kind of like him.
I heard it's more of a full-on musical.
I don't know how to react to that. I just keep thinking of like, is it just Oompa Loompas singing everything? Like,
no, I think everybody sings, not just Oompa Loompas.
That's one of those I'm gonna go ahead and let Heather watch first and tell me how she feels, and I will react after that. What's the Abed line when the dean shows up at the door with like soda and snacks, and Abed opens the door? He's like, "I need help reacting to something."
Yeah,
that's how I feel right now. We'll put the description, all the information down in the description. Likes, comments, subs, thumbs up, positive reviews, all those things really help.
All this video blows up, and everyone puts in the PayPal. First person to give me their PayPal. Okay.
Congratulations, because I assume that's the first person that listened the whole way through, which is a miracle. First person, I'll give $1 out. That's the prize. People are just going to be commenting all their PayPals. I don't know what I do with all this data. It's just a big scam. I don't know what I do with that information, though. I'll put all the stuff in the comments, as always. All your interactions are very helpful to us. We appreciate them. We'll be back next week. Thanks for listening to Avatar: The Last Podcasters. We'll see you next time.
I'm about to go do some painting.
And you're not going to do it on camera? What a waste.
Everything must be contentified.
Chris, your first and last name are even one syllable, just like Bob Ross. It's perfect. Chris Ford, statue painting.